Science is slowly discovering that tonsils have an immunological purpose. Mine were removed at age 8. But, to my mind, the most necessary of appendages isn't manufactured in the womb. Not unlike a borrowed beard, a sweater provides warmth and protection, but also an image and identity. Please indulge me a few moments for confessions of an unfunny, white Bill Cosby. You may submit that the perfect sweater combines characteristics of comfort or fit, or in a Cosby-eyed view of things, you may argue that a fractal-like visual opulence is essential. In my view, these physical factors pale in comparison to temporal ones, and a perfect sweater is eternal, transcending human notions of time. Scientists found that mice with lowered core body temperature had significantly longer lifespan. Mice exposed to cold water stress lived longer than controls when both groups were exposed to a lethal parasite. Science is waging a war on comfort, and the sweater is the ace of spades. I was in a 4-H club where instead of ribbons for well-poised livestock, we were judged on the caliber of our databases and spreadsheets, carefully printed with the latest dot matrix printer technology, and laid out on folding tables at the fall fair. I'm pretty sure that this was the only 4-H computer club in the world at the time. Entropy goes up with time and things become more disorderly. So if you neatly fold your sweaters in your closet in your spare bedroom, and you organize them by color, and then you walk away, you're not surprised that over time they become more disorderly. Sometimes I come home, my wife has organized my sweaters for me, which causes me to question the laws of physics. Theoretical physics speculates that perhaps there is no linear time. The past, the present, the future may all be occurring at once, with the human mind creating the construct of time. Regular users of LSD agree. All of this may have something to do with wormholes, and somehow we're discovering this by smashing invisible particles together. Wormholes affect me on a personal level. I rail against the tyranny of woolworms. I bought 100 cedar balls and distributed them against the top shelves of my clothes closet. Every few months I sand them to release more scent. Waging an eternal war against the inevitable. I find the concept of sweaters emblazoned with moths to be disturbingly fatalistic. Mantis shrimps have the most complex visual systems of any creature on Earth, having 16 photoreceptive combs. Humans have a measly 3 combs. In the future, we'll be able to inject mantis combs directly into our eyes, paving the way for iridescent and ultraviolet sweaters beyond our current imagination. I'd like some of those extra combs. But not the ice cream kind. I became an ice cream truck driver at 16. Driving from Little League game to Little League game through the endless subdivisions that have replaced the swamps where I used to catch snakes. The sound of the entertainer is forever emblazoned in my mind. You'll have to notice the outfit in the next one. I dreamt that song for years afterwards. When West Kelowna met public ridicule for having one of their first acts of council being regulating the noise from ice cream trucks, I was one of the silent majority, secretly believing this to be an instance where draconian regulations are clearly in order. There is a difference between time as we actually experience it and the mechanistic science of time. French philosopher Henri Bergson said that to understand time, we need to explore the inner life of man, which is a kind of duration. Duration is inevitable and can only be grasped through the intuition of the imagination. Okay. I wanted to be the boss of the army when I grew up. Now I'm an urban planner in a small town. Scientists estimate there are roughly 1.5 million ants for every human being, and ants are better urban planners, creating global super colonies without a trace of traffic congestion. Still, ants are susceptible to a parasite that turns them into zombies. At the former site of the World's Fairs in Queens, there is a massive model of New York City with 895,000 individual buildings. The model is frozen in time from 1964 to 1992, decaying in solitude. Due to funding cuts in the future, only new buildings which provide sponsorship through the Adopted Building program will be updated. There are modern forms of camouflage. A new species of spider was discovered last year that built a realistic decoy spider out of webbing to fool predators. Based on the current speed of spider evolution, a spider that knits Farrell sweaters is predicted by the year 3000. Seattle's not Vancouver's evil twin, but the buildings are blacker and bigger. There I had a chance encounter with a high-strung poet, also the head of the American Cephalopod Appreciation Society. Octopi can change form and color and sex and can disguise themselves as rolling coconuts. I imagine them wearing sweaters and making games of changing their colors to match and contrast. Boredom is an entirely modern notion, which may have not existed before the era of high capitalism. The internet, they say, is reweaving our brains along lazy lines. Or is this a moral panic, similar to the reactions against every other great advancement of technology? If you Google the word sweater and any other word, you will find what you're looking for. In a culture steeped in irony, where Vancouver can lay claim to the world's first annual ugly sweater party, a select few wear bedazzled garments now with a serious and unironic sense of time, paying homage to the past and grounding them in the present, resentful of the smugness of those who appropriated their roots for cheap laughs and drunken revelry. There is no great invention, from fire to flying, which has not been hailed as an insult to some god. There is hardly one which, on being first brought to the notice of an observer from any nation which had not previously heard of their existence, which would not appear to him as indecent and unnatural. In the future, we may download our consciousnesses into boxes and transmit them across the universe, grow meat on synthetic trees, live like gods. Whatever you may think of humanoid Japanese robots designed to sponge bathe the elderly, history will be the judge of these innovations. I suspect none will be deemed as important as advancements in sweater technology. In order to understand the future, we need to understand 4 transformative forces: resources, demographics, technology, and governance. But as a starting place, we must ask, who am I, and where am I going? In this quest of self-awareness, one thing is certain: the future, much as my forebears did, I'll be bringing my sweaters.